in Collin County.
Breaking.
Allen Eagles, for the second time in 2 years, are looking for a new head football coach. Chad Morris, the former Lake Travis coach, the former SMU coach, the former Arkansas coach, has resigned his post after 1 year at the helm. They went 11-3 in his 11-3, 10-3.
11-3.
Is that right? They went 11-3 in his lone season there at the helm, making it all the way to the regional final before losing to South Lake Carroll. He put out a statement saying that he, quote, "I am so thankful to Allen ISD for the chance to work with an amazing group of student athletes and a dedicated coaching staff." There was a report from Allen. Allen was saying that he had an opportunity to go back and coach in college. We will see whether that comes to fruition. But Allen will be on their third coach in 3 years, as Chad Morris has resigned after a single season. Allen, of course, is the largest school in the state of Texas with over 7,000 students, and is one of the most high-profile programs in Texas high school football, which, of course, makes this pretty big breaking news. It's also worth mentioning that it's very late. It is May 13th that this is happening.
Like they already finished spring ball.
Spring ball's done. Spring ball's over. And while there are some coaching changes that come down in May, they are relatively few. And so to have one of this seismic impact is pretty substantial. Now, I think it's worth mentioning that we had been hearing some rumors and rumblings about this. Matt Stepp had been seeing some smoke about Chad Morris potentially stepping down for about a week. About a week was the first time he said, "Hey, keep an eye on Allen," to us. So here at the Dave Campbell's office, it wasn't necessarily a shock. We'd had time to prepare for it. And so there's a couple of things that I want to get into.
Okay.
One of them is there is a lot of grave dancing going on right now, specifically from very bitter Arkansas fans.
Dude, the pigs are they're crazy.
And
like
I don't know.
It's not even like light stuff. It's hateful stuff.
It's very bad from Arkansas fans. And I get it. He wasn't good at Arkansas. Like, I understand that. That feels a little excessive. Like, feels like there's a lot of people touchdown dancing on his grave today.
You have a guy now. Like, just live now. Like, why are they still looking back at it? Some of them are funny. I'm not gonna lie, but it's like, why?
I don't know. My brain's not wired that way. Obviously, there are some people whose brains are wired that way, and that's a little unfortunate. And I think the world's a worse place because of that kind of stuff.
I also feel like there's always a real difference. We think of things when it comes to coaching changes in the high school terminology of we don't just think about the coach itself. We think about the kids that it affects and that kind of stuff. And it's like I feel like a lot of college fans don't. And that's one of the grosser parts of college football.
Yeah.
Is not thinking of people as humans per se.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's just a lot of I don't know, a little icky to me in my personal humble opinion that there's been and that happened when Allen lost their first game, when Allen lost a home game, and then
for the first
time, and then when Allen also lost
a district game.
when they lost in the playoffs, they got eliminated.
Game streak.
The Hogs came out of the woodwork to make sure that you knew that they are very big people on the internet, and they surprisingly have internet access in Arkansas. So Chad Morris is out. Why didn't it work? I don't know if I would say it didn't work. He went 11-3. I mean, that's a pretty good season overall. Now I will tell you things that I know, and I'll tell you things that I've heard. Okay, and I want to make sure I draw some clear delineation. Something that I have heard but not personally confirmed is that Arkansas was getting a little squirrely with their buyout. So because Chad Morris was fired at Arkansas, he was owed a balance on his contract. Arkansas says, that's fine. We'll pay the balance on your contract as long as you are paying, as long as you are have a job that is closer to like for like, close to like for like with what you were doing. So if he were to go be the offensive coordinator at Maryland, then like Arkansas would be paying his buyout. From what I understand and what I've heard, and again, heard, not confirmed, and I love throwing these types of things out there, Arkansas was trying to claim that being the coach at Allen is not close enough to being the head coach at Arkansas, and as a result, they should not have to go and pay their buyout. The idea being, if you had a buyout pickle, and then if Chad Morris went to go be an accountant, Arkansas shouldn't go and pay him that money. Like he's not, all that fun stuff. So that's one thing that I have heard. I've not confirmed that, but that would certainly help to explain why he stepped down. So this is an unusual bit of coaching turnover at Allen, considering they had a long tenure with Terry Gamble, and before that, a long tenure with Tom Westerberg. And the one thing, and I don't know how connected this is. But when they lost, when Allen's one of their, I believe their defensive line coach, whose son is David Hicks, defensive end David Hicks,
which is notable.
When he transferred to Katy Paetow, that's a little interesting because you're at Allen, right? You're getting all the you're a 5-star. You're getting all the promotion that you need there at Allen. You're playing at the biggest school in the state of Texas. Why are you leaving to go to Paetow?
Clearly, it worked out well.
Obviously, it worked out well, but I do wonder if there's some sort of if that should have been our first sign that that there was something going on.
Right.
So I do think I want to go back to something that I mentioned whenever they hired Chad Morris. When they hired Chad Morris, one of the things that Allen was facing kind of for the first time was the pressure to make a splash hire.
Yep.
Tom Westerberg obviously helped to bring them to new heights with the 3P with Kyler and all of that fun stuff, right? They bring in Terry Gamble, and Terry Gamble, when he got hired, was a supremely successful coach at Midway. Very successful. And, like, around the Dave Campbell's offices when Terry Gamble got hired.
Like, oh, excellent hire.
We were all like, that's a really good hire. Like, he's a great coach, and he's going to do great stuff. And surprise, surprise, he did great stuff at Allen. I think that in a lot of ways, the game has changed. The game had changed for Allen when it came to 2021 and needing a new coach. And that they not just needed a good coach, they also needed somebody who could be a big, splashy face of the franchise.
Well, because it's almost like putting something up on a billboard. They had the championship billboards up, and it was like, okay, well, that has kind of died off, so now we need something else to replaster that billboard.
Yes. So, here is my thought on what they're going to do here. Because I think that one thing to keep in mind, again, is it is May 13th. That is very late in the game. You're not going to have – you might – if they hire a guy today, he can meet his team for 2 weeks, and then it's summer.
Yep.
Functionally, the first time he's going to practice with his guys is going to be 2-a-days. So they're in a tough spot. I think you've got two options, and then there's different branching things. I've got a piece up on TexasFootball.com about this, about who they should hire, who Allen should or might target for their job. I think there are two in-house candidates. Normally, under normal circumstances, if a normal program loses their coach on May 13th, you promote from within.
Yes.
Almost always, at this point, you just say, all right, let's keep the stability. Let's find somebody to steer the ship. Even if it's an interim basis, you go and you do it.
Especially with a bigger school that has already been through spring ball. That's something else notable there.
Yes. So, here's what I think they have two in-house options. One of them is a little bit of an off-the-board option, which would be, do they promote their offensive coordinator? Their offensive coordinator is a gentleman by the name of Tristan Weber. Tristan Weber was he was on the staff at Highland Park before he was on the staff at South Lake Carroll with Riley Dodge, before he was on the staff at Allen to be their associate head coach. Tristan Weber has never been a head football coach, but is very obviously he's coached at Highland Park, South Lake Carroll, and Allen. He's pretty highly regarded in coaching circles. This would probably not be the splashy hire, but I would say that if you're looking for stability and you're looking for an opportunity to get it on the ground floor of a guy and say, you know what, I think that this guy could be the next big thing for us, Tristan Weber might be that move. There's another guy on staff that does have head coaching experience, and it's David Branscombe. David Branscombe, you may remember as the head coach at San Antonio Brandeis for 4 seasons, where he was really good.
Yeah, he really turned that program around.
Took them to the regional finals twice. They went 37-10. If you're looking to tick boxes, and you were to say, I want a guy who knows the program, who's already here, an internal hire, who also has head coaching experience, even if it's just in an interim basis for 2022, I think David Branscombe might be the guy.
Weber has never called plays at a varsity level.
That's interesting.
So, as Step put it, high risk, high reward.
But would he call? Chad Morris didn't call plays.
Exactly.
Well, no, I guess he did.
If
he was the offensive coordinator. Anyway, all that's to say. So those would be the internal candidates. Branscombe has the head coaching experience, but Tristan Weber would be, as Step put it, the high risk, high reward, high ceiling,
low floor.
Perhaps low floor. And then there are 3 external candidates I want you to keep your eye on.
Yes.
One is down the street, and it's Marcus Shavers. Marcus Shavers.
3 are down the street.
They're all down the street. But he is down the street from Allen.
Yes, literally.
At McKinney, the head coach at McKinney. Marcus Shavers is an Allen guy through and through. He's an Allen native. He's an Allen alum.
Yeah. A fantastic player at Allen.
He was a great player at Allen. He's really become a really good and well-respected coach.
At a young age still.
He's a young guy. He did big things at Lubbock Estacado before he got to come home to DFW to go be the head coach at McKinney. It has been maybe fits and starts there at McKinney, but there's one thing I would say is you don't have to worry about him getting up to speed on the Allen program considering he's in their district.
Yep.
He sees them all the time. He is a guy who is known as a great culture builder and a guy who's known as one heck of a ball coach. So Marcus Shavers makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Marcus Shavers makes a lot of sense. That's one name. Another name I want to throw out there is Riley Dodge. Riley Dodge is the head coach of South Lake Carroll. Riley Dodge is a ridiculous 52-5 in 4 seasons.
Seems good.
As a head coach at South Lake Carroll, he's got a title game, a semifinal, and 2 regional final appearances. There were rumblings, reports, I can say pretty well-sourced reports that they called Riley Dodge last time. And they called him in the summer of or whenever they were looking for a coach when Terry Gamble left. And obviously he's still the head coach at South Lake Carroll before they ended up getting Chad Morris. I don't know who said no to whom, but I have it on pretty good authority that they've already barked up that tree in 2021. I have to imagine they would call him again.
Try again. Yeah.
So Riley Dodge would be another name. But if you're looking at getting into a bidding war with South Lake Carroll seems like a bad move.
Yep.
My opinion. Well, not for Riley.
Not for Riley. I was like, let's make a very clear thing here that Riley would be a big winner.
If you're Allen, that's a bad idea.
In anything.
If you're Riley Dodge, you're like, let's go.
Go. Actually, you know what? I'm willing to hear both.
Let's hear you out. The third name I want to throw out there as an external candidate is Jeff Rayburn. Jeff Rayburn's head coach of Frisco Lone Star. We had him on our show just a few weeks ago. He's entering his 10th year at Frisco Lone Star. 91-25. Took him to a title game back in 2015. I don't know. I'll be honest, I haven't talked with Jeff Rayburn about what he thinks the future holds or anything like that. I think every coach is as tied to their school as they are to until the phone rings. So I don't know. I don't know this from personal experience. There's a couple of things about this that would be really interesting. Jeff Rayburn is obviously he built it from the ground. He's not the only coach they've ever had, but he's been their coach for over 80% of their existence at Lone Star. He's established them in a tough situation at Frisco ISD where you're fighting with a million different schools. He's established them as the clear alpha in Frisco ISD, which is tough.
And you want to talk about a guy that gets his coaches hired more than anyone? I mean, he's pumping them out.
He would be a really interesting move. And a guy that I would not be surprised if his phone rang and he got brought in for an interview. The one thing is he's not the athletic director. He's a campus coordinator at Lone Star, but he's not the athletic director of Frisco ISD. He would not be the athletic director at Allen, because so that would be in that sense a bit of a lateral move. But obviously Allen's big fish. One more thing here, and I think this is important to note. We've listed these names of maybe they'll hire them, maybe they'll go get him, etc. They all have to say yes, and you might be thinking, well, of course you'd want to go be the head coach at Allen. Has the bloom come off the rose at Allen in the last 3 years? They're about to be on their third coach in 3 years. If I were to tell you, if we're writing in the magazine, and I'm writing a capsule for a high school coach, high school X, Lano. If Lano had 3 coaches in 3 years, you would look at that program and you go, I don't know. What's going on there? What's rotten in Denmark? Being the coach at Allen is unlike being the coach anywhere else, simply because of its size and simply because of the things that you have to do. I wonder if a little bit of shine has come off of Allen, and coaches are maybe looking at this program not as you stop everything and you go jump at this job that it used to be.
Right. Well,
the theory that I'm throwing out.
It's like a super nice house with a little bit of a rocky foundation. Like, you can't necessarily see it from the outside. You think you see the spectacular facilities and you see everything that it is and you hear everyone talk about it, but then it's kind of let's take a step back here and see what's going on. And we don't really know, but it's interesting.
Right. I want to be very clear. Allen's a great job.
Absolutely.
If you get the job at Allen, you got a good job.
Right.
What I'm saying is I think when Tom Westerberg left, or even when Terry Gamble left, I think that was the hottest job in the state.
Yes, it was. It absolutely was.
I'm not sure. I wonder if that perception still holds. So, we'll have complete coverage for you at TexasFootball.com. Allen looking for a new head coach as Chad Morris has resigned after 1 season.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.